But what happens if Drew gets hurt? And so Derek White might be the second best in the world at point of attack defense.
Did you call Jaylen Brown to tell him or explain this to him?
I think this idea that there's a conspiracy theory. I always love a good conspiracy theory, but it was really truly a basketball decision.
So Jaylen Brown has, I guess you could say, called out Grant Hill. He's basically the general manager of Team USA, as a lot of y'all know. And let me start off by saying Nike is the brand ambassador for Team USA. If you have a company and you're the brand ambassador of another company, I should say, and somebody speaks out against you, it's very plausible that you may not want that person endorsing whatever it is that you're doing or having any association with it. So for Grant Hill to go as far as to say it's a conspiracy, I personally don't like that. You could say that, nah, that's not what it is. It's really a basketball decision. Okay, fine. He has every right to say that. And keep in mind, in the past, Nike has forced players who are not endorsed or working with Nike to hide the logos of whatever brand it is that they were representing themselves. And as you see with the article on the screen, they had people hide these photos whenever they took a picture. So Nike is on brand, no pun intended, of protecting everything that they have and what they stand for. That's really any brand too, by the way, not just Nike. But let's really get into what Grant Hill was saying his reasoning was in terms of the point of attack and wanting somebody on Team USA that could go after the point guards. Now, it's not that Derek White doesn't fit this role. That's what he does perfectly, right? It's just that when you have a guy like Jaylen Brown that can do something very similar to that and still be a star and get you points, well, wouldn't you want the best of both worlds with that? But I'm going to play y'all a clip where Jaylen Brown was telling you that on the Celtics team, even with his teammate, as you know, Derek White, he was the guy that they wanted guarding their star players and the superstar guys. So here it goes.
I was taking the load of the defensive matchup every single night, all season long. So when it came to the playoffs, it wasn't really a question. Everybody already knew who was going to have Luka.
For further context, Udonis Haslem was asking Jaylen Brown when the matchup between the Celtics and Mavericks happened, who decided that Brown was going to be the one to guard Luka Doncic. Jaylen Brown responded by saying, well, throughout the regular season and the playoffs, I was always the one who was guarding the best players. So when it came to the Dallas Mavericks, it wasn't a question as to who was going to guard Doncic. I'm only bringing this up to emphasize the point that if you're talking about the defensive side of the ball with the Boston Celtics, yeah, you got a Derek White, a Drew Holiday, but Jaylen Brown's name is right there. It's not a big separation or a clear gap. You could make an argument that you could have Jaylen Brown on your team if you want defense over those guys, or even vice versa. Initially, when Stephen A brought up the whole anonymous quote saying that Jaylen Brown wasn't a marketable player, it was random to me because I thought the conversation was more so about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's game as opposed to marketing and star power. However, with all of this coming out and Brown obviously having some issue with Nike, it gives credence to what Stephen A was saying. I gotta be fair whether you like it or not. I need to clarify though that this is not what I think personally. I'm just going off of putting the pieces together and seeing what others may view Jaylen Brown as when it comes to marketing and not wanting to stand beside him. And people shouldn't take offense to that. When you're somebody who's typically more on the outspoken side and you'll say what the common person is thinking, like me or you, when we watch these athletes within the media, these are the consequences that unfortunately happen. Now, he was still voted for finals MVP, and the MVP decision is based upon the media vote. So even if he does ruffle some feathers because he says certain things that people may not like, there's still others who appreciate him and understand his game and the value that he has, being one of the faces in the NBA that's recognizable. I should also note that I don't think it's a conspiracy or let's say a coincidence that Kyrie Irving is also not on this team, as he went through his issues with the whole Nike and when he put the tweet out. So y'all tell me though, man, do you think this is a conspiracy? Is Grant Hill right? Do you believe this is strictly a basketball decision and Grant Hill and Team USA made the right move? Or are you more leaning towards what I'm saying, where there's smoke, there's fire, basically? And I do believe there's some truth in what Jaylen Brown is saying. Hit me up in the comment section, like, subscribe, and as always, peace and salute for listening.